Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCar. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse Indycar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Foyt, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson, Davies, Gardner, and Teague. You can expect high speed, incredible wheel-to-wheel action, and intense drama that you can only get in an IndyCar. So sit back and enjoy your favorite drivers from all over the world take the track. Dark Horse IndyCar drivers, start your engines.
And we are live for the Dark Horse Indycar Series Season 2, Race 9 here at the Twin Ring Motegi. Good evening, everybody. I am Jonathan Oates, and joining me today in the broadcast booth is Thomas Fisher. Thomas, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself, Jonathan?
I'm doing pretty well as well. Very excited for tonight's race here at the Twin Ring Motegi in Japan. It's the first time this season that we are leaving the United States of America and heading across the Pacific Ocean here to the 1.5-mile Twin Ring Motegi Oval. This track, very, very unique in its shape, size, and banking. It's shaped almost like Gateway, the track that we went to earlier this season, but it's a lot flatter and a lot bigger. So I think we're going to see racing a lot similar to that, where these drivers are really going to have to lift and work the gears in the turns. However, we're going to see racing a lot more accustomed, I think similar to what we saw last race at Texas, where everyone's kind of bunched up in a big pack. So expect something similar to that and also Gateway. Thomas, what are you looking for out of this race tonight?
Well, hopefully I want to try and see if we can get some multi-groove racing. Obviously, we know the draft here is super important, but also they need to make sure they don't get in each other's dirty air too much, so maybe we'll see a lot of side-by-side action, and that's what I'm hoping for throughout the field.
I absolutely agree, and I think that actually the second groove is really going to come into play, I think, in the third turn. I'm going to try and go on board here with one of the drivers that is out on the track currently, Brendan Pasalacqua. He is currently headed for turn 3, and you're going to see it's very, very high banked, and I think we're going to see a lot of drivers start out running that lower groove. Then as the run goes on, as that lane heats up, I think that we're going to see drivers moving up the track and trying out that second and third lane. Thomas, we're going to take a look at the point standings now. It's Nick DeGroot at the top of the standings by 79 points over Craig Forsyth. After today, he needs a 112-point lead heading into Donington to lock up this championship 2 races early. I don't think that's going to happen unless Forsyth has a very, very bad race today. However, I have a feeling that that championship is going to be locked up after Donington. But Thomas, I'm very interested to hear your thoughts. What do you think we're going to see in terms of the championship over these next few races?
Well, I'm hopeful we're going to see a lot more battles with, as one of the drivers said last week, championship implications. No, we want this race to be spiced up. Sorry, we want this championship to be spiced up, and we want this race to be the beginning of that. So, Charles Teed is currently at the top of the board, followed by Matt Wagner, and championship leader Nick DeGroot is only in 6th right now. Last week's winner, Covey Moore, his teammate, is in 8th. So, hopefully we're going to see a little bit more of a mix that maybe Charles Teed can close that gap up to Jim Brooks and Craig Forsyth, and even up to Nick DeGroot. And hopefully some of the guys further down the field will be able to catch up and hopefully compete for a top 10 finish.
Yeah, I absolutely think that if we saw a little bit of championship drama, it would be in these last few races. I think especially Donington, the road course, has huge potential to shake things up, given that Nick DeGroot doesn't lock the championship today. Now, I will say, I am not too concerned about his speed, given that earlier this week on Monday night, he competed in the Monday night racing event. He was actually able to beat out NASCAR Cup Series driver Kyle Busch for the win there at this very same racetrack, that time in the IR18s. I have a feeling that speed is going to translate over today, and I think we're going to see another convincing Nick DeGroot victory. Keep in mind, he did win earlier this season in Gateway practice. Wrapping up as we head into qualifying, as these drivers are all going to be chasing after the Lionheart Pole Award. Charles Teed, the fastest in practice over Matt Wagner and Eric Peterson. I have a feeling that Wagner might be going after a little bit of redemption after last weekend at Texas, when on the last couple laps, him and Dylan Moskowitz got together. They crashed and handed the victory to Covey Moore under caution, if you remember 1 week ago in Texas. Speaking of Texas, we have gotten all the network and latency issues out of the way. We've gotten them fixed. They kind of just fixed themselves. So we're all good in terms of the technical aspect heading into Twin Ring Motegi. A couple of drivers waiting now in the pit lane. First one out on track is Jim Brooks as he goes after the Lionheart Pole Award.
Yeah, hopefully there's going to be a couple more drivers competing for that pole position, but I wouldn't be too surprised if we see people, like you said, Matt Wagner and Craig Forsyth, Nick DeGroot up there. Maybe we might even see someone from the outside, maybe AJ Musselman, AJ Hobson, Eric Schaus, competing up there as well. Eric Schaus has been very fast all season, hasn't quite had the consistency though. Same thing with Charles Teed, Nicholas Winnock, and I'm not sure If he's here tonight, nope. But I was going to say David Leclerc.
Yeah, Leclerc
as
not
well.
here tonight. Jim Brooks, though, wrapping up his first lap nice and down to that white line, headed to, through turns 3 and 4 across the line. Jim Brooks going to set the first lap time of qualifying, but not the fastest. AJ Musselman goes to the top with a 26.621 by about 1/100th of a second over the 76 of Brooks. Second lap now for AJ Musselman as he goes down the back straightaway, but now AJ Hobson to the top of the board. Brandon Pasalacqua slotting into second. Here comes Hobson through 1 and 2, going down the back. This is going to be Hobson's first lap, or second lap, trying to go after the pole, trying to secure that top spot. He's got the lead right now by about 1/10 of a second over Pasalacqua in second. Pasalacqua, I think one of the drivers who might stand a chance of taking away the pole here. Hobson across the line, going to stay in first. Pasalacqua crossing second, not going to take away that pole award.
Yep, Joe McAdry lost in our times right now. Todd Schneider just ahead of him, behind Jim Brooks. Benjamin Combs slips in between Musselman and Brooks. And Craig Forsyth just behind Pasalacqua in fourth, on what I believe is his first lap, if I'm not mistaken. And Charles Steed slots it into second, ahead of Pasalacqua now, but just behind AJ Hobson.
Watching the 13 of Krista Nelson at the moment. She's coming off a very, very strong run in Texas. So going for a very strong starting spot here in Motegi. We know that track position is going to be pretty important throughout the night. We saw it at Milwaukee where drivers on old tires were actually able to stand a chance. So we're going to see it. We might see it again today in Motegi. Coming across turns 3 and 4 now, Krista Nelson going to come across the line to set her first lap of qualifying. Meanwhile, George Anzaldo goes second with a 26.444. Nelson to 9th. Out on track now is the 99 of Matt Wagner, waiting in the pit lane. So is Josh Garner. He's going out for his laps. Nick DeGroot out on the track as well. Like I said.
Yep.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Who's in 11th? Who's in 11th right now?
Todd Schneider slotting into 11th.
Yeah, there seems to be a gap, in our timing board. We'll see if we can get that fixed very quickly.
Well, that's intentional, so we can just show the top 10 and then everyone else. Coming through 3 and 4 now, Nick DeGroot going to cross the line to start his first lap of the day. We'll see what he does here going into turn 1, keeping it off the wall, entering nice and low. Not sure how that line's going to play out for him, but he's able to stick it right along that white line. Looking promising so far. Again, I wouldn't necessarily doubt him, considering he is coming off a win in Monday Night Racing. Very, very strong series over there, broadcasted on Podium Esports if you want to check it out. I don't know why I'm advertising for them. Going through turns 3 and 4, Nick DeGroot against that white line, coming around to start his second lap. We'll see what the first one clocks in as 26.3 to the top of the board by over 1/10 of a second. Lap 2 underway for the 89.
Yep, a couple drivers now still to set laps of them. Dylan Moskovitz, Gary Corley, Kobe Moore, Jeff Hai-Sung, Nicholas Winnick, Max Davies, and Matt Wagner. Nick DeGroot on his second lap now. We're going to have to see what he's going to be able to do when he comes across the line.
There, and it's not going to be a good lap. Has to slow down coming to the line. However, he is on pole by over 1/10 of a second, so a very, very strong performance in qualifying so far. Matt Wagner out on track now. Jeff Hai-Sung coming around to start his first lap of the day, or that might be setting his first lap.
Nope, that's starting it.
So this is going to be Hai-Sung's first attempt at taking away that pole from Nick DeGroot, but it's looking very, very solid at the moment. Like I said, I have a very strong feeling that Nick DeGroot is going to come out of this with the Lionheart Pole Award. Headed for turns 3 and 4, Hai-Sung keeping it about half a lane to a lane off the bottom. Good run off 4. The 18 car coming to the line. We'll see what he is able to set. 11th fastest at the moment. We'll see if he can improve this time by Matt Wagner coming around to set his first lap. A 26.298. To the top of the board goes Matt Wagner, Nick DeGroot off provisional pole. Wagner going to take that spot away. A very, very surprising performance. I was not expecting that out of the 99s. He's actually going to pull off satisfied with his lap. Jeff Hai-Sung setting his second lap of the day, not going to improve. But Matt Wagner currently on provisional pole. Kobe Moore, DeGroot's teammate and last week's winner in Texas, going around to start his first lap of the day. Very impressive lap by Matt Wagner. We'll see if Moore can improve on both those 2 laps and take away the pole. What I'm noticing is that an early entry into turn 1 and using that downforce to stick the car on the bottom line is what is really helping these drivers get really good lap time. So we'll see if Moore is able to learn from that and set a good lap here.
Yep, I wouldn't be too surprised, though, if the two teammates of De Groot and Moore are talking to each other, as once again, they are teammates. So hopefully, Nick De Groot is going to be edging on Kobe Moore and see what he's going to be able to do. Third place after his first lap, onto his second now, keeping it nice and tight. So that white line doing really well, not touching the apron. Beautiful line through there from Kobe Moore. And down the back straight now, he's going to have a look to see what he's going to be able to do through turns 3 and 4. Goes to the outside, all the way down to the inside now. Using that second lane. Not getting quite as far down as Nick De Groot. That should be all right. And coming across the line now,
not improving.
Kobe Moore not improving on his lap, staying in that third place.
Couple of drivers still out on track. Dylan Moskovitz coming around to set his first lap. We'll see what it is this time by. I'm guessing it's going to be pretty fast. A 26.436, going to be good enough for 5th. Second lap underway now for Moskovitz. Keeping it about a lane off the top, slowly drifting towards that outside wall, headed for turn 3. It's a very wide racetrack, this, so you really got to make the most out of that width. Right on that white line, headed through 3 and 4. It might be a good lap here for Moskovitz.
Coming across the line, he's going to go from 5th.
To
and
5th.
It does not change, 5th to 5th doesn't change positions in this qualifying session. That'll be 5th place for Dylan Moskovitz, unless Max Davis can do something about it. Coming now to set his first lap. Good line now through turns 1 and 2, keeping it nice right down next to that white line. Out of turn 2 now, he's keeping it nice and low, but now then drifting up to the outside of the racetrack, which is what you want to do, entering turns 3 and 4, entering a bit lower.
Oh, that's not going to be good. He's gone very wide, almost into the outside wall.
Well held, though, from Max Davies after the first lap. He has
16th.
gone into 16th place. It's not going to be too happy that will be Max Davies. And you see, keeping it not quite as close to the white line as he did on his first attempt. Keeping it a little bit tighter, though, on exit, sliding up to the top of the racetrack, right up next to the white wall. And now going to take that second groove.
He's just going to back off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
must
backed
have
off
not
his
been
lap.
tracking very well.
P16. Yeah, P16 for Max Davies. Drivers yet to set a lap are Gary Corley and Nicholas Winnock. See if any of those guys are coming out of pit lane and onto their laps.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they are. So it's definitely looking like your pole sitter here in Japan is going to be Matt Wagner over Nick De Groot and Kobe Moore. Your factory back teammates currently sitting 2 and 3, with Wagner splitting them on the pole. Very surprising, honestly. I had a feeling that Nick De Groot was going to lock up that pole position, but instead it was Matt Wagner taking it away. So we'll see how, if any driver is able to take that away in the final minute in qualifying. But I got a feeling they might just be sitting at the back trying to take advantage of some of the carnage here. I'm sure there's going to be a lot. This racetrack, it's very oddly shaped. I think a lot of the drivers still probably not entirely used to it. So we'll see how this progresses throughout the race. But it's looking like Matt Wagner going to be your pole sitter. Update on the YouTube stream. Connor Kozlov says, wow, no chats yet. He is correct. He has been the first chat. So congratulations. 30 seconds remaining in qualifying, and I think Matt Wagner is going to be a lock for this pole position. A lap here, around 38 seconds. So at this point, I don't think there are any drivers left to set a lap. Matt Wagner going to be on pole here in Motegi. Like I said before, I think we're definitely looking at a very, very interesting race. Gateway was definitely one of my favorite races of the season to commentate over, and I think we're going to get a little bit more of the same here in Motegi. I think these drivers, they're going to be able to keep it really clean. We're going to get some long green flag runs, maybe even some green flag pit stops, which we saw for the first time in a while last weekend at Texas. We know how well Gateway went. We'll see if it goes similarly today. Qualifying, wrapping up, these drivers getting ready to grid up, but first we are going to cut to commercial, and we will be right back.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
back live here on the TMG Racing Network, live from the Twin Ring Motegi, where these drivers starting to grid up, getting ready for battle here. The first time out of the United States that we will be going in this Dark Horse IndyCar series. That was a very poorly phrased sentence. I did not think about that enough before I said it. Yes, we are outside of the United States for the first of second time this season, actually, because we will be going to Donington next week for the second road course race of the season. Taking a look at your full field right now. Like I said before, Matt Wagner is going to be your pole sitter, yet to grid up here. Nick DeGroot glitching out just a little bit, but he is going to remain solid on the racetrack. That right there, the driver, the number 89, getting ready for battle and attempting to lock up a championship following this race. We saw it Gateway quite a few weeks ago actually, all the way during week 4, that Nick DeGroot, his ability to recover from bad situations, it's pretty much unlike any other on the field, so it wouldn't surprise me if despite some adversity, Nick DeGroot is able to get it done. You see your two factory-backed cars there, DeGroot and the 15 of Covey Moore lining up first and third. Pace car going to lead him off the pit lane. Getting ready here for 120 laps, a relatively short race here in Motegi, so we should be getting it done pretty quickly. Matt Wagner, the yellow number 99, looking for redemption from last weekend at Texas. Him and Moskowitz got into it towards the end of the race, handed the win to Covey Moore. That might happen again today, those two starting pretty close to the front once again. I think Thomas is officially back. Are you there?
Yep, I am. I was just about to say, I have to agree with you, though, Jonathan, that, we have seen just how good Nick DeGroot is at coming back from bad situations. So, even if he does get involved in an incident here in the first maybe 20, even 30 laps of this race, he should be able to come back and get a decent finish out of it. And hopefully, for him at least, to be able to secure another championship.
I don't know why you say another championship, but if you're referring to his first championship, or the latest championship I know of, which is his Monday Night Racing Championship from the last time they did that series all the way through, then technically Nick DeGroot is the defending champion of something. However, Charles Teed, the defending champion of this series. Pace car, gonna pull it off in just a minute here, leaving the field in the hands of that number 99. Strap yourselves in, folks. We're in for a good one. It's time to bring the action from Motegi. Green flag is out. We're underway in Japan.
Yep, decent start, nothing really too interesting, good start, however, from the pole sitter. Two factory-back guys behind are just kind of sitting nice and pretty, not too much fighting going on with each other. Pretty single file as we're heading out now of turn 2 and down the back straight. Little bit chaotic, people choosing to take different lines. And now you go, Nick DeGroot looking to take the lead away from Matt Wagner on lap 1, sliding to the inside of the racetrack, having to pull back in behind Matt Wagner. Matt Wagner moves to the inside now to defend from Nick DeGroot. Corey V. Moore in the background, taking a nice wide entry, trying to defend from AJ Hobson. On board now with Nick DeGroot. You can see he's going right down to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get a run on Matt Wagner, having that run, and sliding up the inside to 3 and 4, and new leader, Nick DeGroot.
Yeah, very good run there by Nick DeGroot, able to get to the inside of the 99 and take away the race lead. Going down the front straightaway, just trying to break the slipstream and going defensive into turn number 1. It's looking like that first turn going to be very much inside line heavy, while in 3 and 4 you can kind of make that outside line work as a defense. Down the back straightaway for the third time today. Matt Wagner looking to the outside. Meanwhile, AJ Hobson in the back, moving from the top to the bottom, trying to get in the slipstream of that 89. Headed for turn number 3. Wagner into second. Hobson falling back under pressure from Anzaldo, 3 wide for a moment, back down to 2. Nick DeGroot still on the inside, fighting for the race lead.
Yep, you can see Matt Wagner now trying to make a move around the outside, but Covey Moore is trying to make a look and see if he can slide up the inside of Matt Wagner and try and make it 1-2 with his teammate, looking to make it around the outside, 3 wide now, heading into turn 3 and 4.
Oh, and I think DeGroot's going to push it up the track just a little bit here. Wagner going to get a run down the front straightaway, fighting back for the race lead. Looking to the outside, 3 wide once again. We saw this at Michigan a few weeks ago. We're seeing it here again, albeit on a much smaller scale. Wagner looking at that outside line, trying to get a run. Not going to be able to get anything going. He's got Moore behind him, looking for second. 3 wide again down the back. Anzaldo waiting in the wings in fourth as these guys kind of start to burn up their tires, fighting with each other here at the front. Lap 5 just about to be completed with the number 89 out in front.
Yep, good racing here at the front. We've seen a lot of attempts and moves. AJ Hobson is looking to make a move, or no, it's George Anzaldo My mistake was making a move now, and still is, on Kobe Moore. Pretty successful in that move. As you can see, Matt Wagner fighting to go around the outside of Nick DeGroot, having to tuck in behind our leader at this current time.
Yeah, side by side for the lead, like you were just saying. Wagner trying to make that run work on the outside. Headed for turn one. We'll see if that outside line has started to come in. You see DeGroot taking a very, very narrow entrance, not really up against the wall. It is going to work out for him, though. He's going to be able to prevail on that inside line. Meanwhile, Anzaldo up into the podium places in third. Kobe Moore fighting back on the outside. This is kind of what I predicted would happen. A lot of these drivers, you know, they're definitely getting a lot more spread out than what we saw in races like Texas and Michigan, but they're still having to lift quite a bit like we saw in Gateway. So we're just kind of seeing this spread out pack racing, probably some of my favorite that we can get out of these IndyCars. So very excited that this is how this race is turning out. Wagner trying to make that outside line work, but DeGroot sliding up just a little bit. Wagner going to try and slot back in line. Meanwhile, Kobe Moore heading to the outside, 3 wide for the lead.
Yep, you see George Anzaldo is trying to get up the inside now. Kobe Moore again, as Kobe Moore is getting that arrow wash up the racetrack, and is now side by side with Anzaldo as we're heading into turns 1 and 2. There you go, George Anzaldo up into third place now, as Matt Wagner is still trying to make a move around the outside of Nick DeGroot, but Nick DeGroot doing very well to hold that inside line extremely defensively.
Yeah, a little bit of a 5-car breakaway here at the front. We got DeGroot, Wagner, Anzaldo, Kobe Moore, and then Dylan Moskovitz kind of starting to look into the picture. Meanwhile, George Anzaldo working his way up into second. Remember, Anzaldo, he hasn't made many starts this season, but one of the ones he did make was in Homestead when he was one of Nick DeGroot's strongest challengers for the win there. DeGroot ended up getting the better of him, however. It wouldn't surprise me if Anzaldo was able to challenge DeGroot once again here in Motegi. It's a very similar track to Homestead in terms of its characteristics. Wagner, though, fighting back on the outside of Anzaldo, getting a nice run down the front straightaway, trying to look for that race lead, headed for one. Yep,
Anzaldo, you know, he keeps looking to see if he can make a move up the inside of Matt Wagner. Matt Wagner moved to the top of the racetrack. You can see Anzaldo now going all the way to the outside and 3 wide for the... back to 2 wide for the lead. Not for the lead, sorry, for second place. Anzaldo, though, sticking around the outside, trying to get the momentum on Wagner. He has it coming out of the corner now.
Caution is out. Caution is out on the racetrack. 1 car round to the back. It's Nelson.
Nelson looks to be up in the outside wall. Big damage to the front and rear of that DW12.
Yeah, heavy damage for number 13.
Super unfortunate for Nelson.
That front wing completely off the car. Very pretty bad crash early on here. Lap 12 of 120. First time the caution has come out all race. We'll take a look at a replay of what happened to the driver of the number 13. By that time, they were already in the outside wall, so we're going to take a look back just a little bit further. And now I've gone too far back.
I was about to say everything seems all right here. Heading down the back straight now. Through turns 3 and 4 is really the accident. And just someone tried to absolutely send it, hit Nelson, and straight to the scene of the accident for Nelson, as Nick DeGroot seems to be pitting.
So as DeGroot comes into the pits, we're going to have one more look at this, and that to me looks like some pretty bad net code. If we take a look at the chase camera here,
everyone pitting. Absolutely everyone pitting.
Oh no. So there was... iRacing registered that as contact, but there was still quite a bit of space between them, so some pretty obvious netcode going on here as Nelson gets sent up into that outside wall, hard onto the wall and destroying the front end of that car as well as the rear wing. So definitely nothing really those drivers could have done about it. I think that was Jim Brooks that got into her. But yeah, that was definitely not really anyone's fault. That was just iRacing making a little bit of a mess up there. Everyone coming into the pit lane. Matt Wagner.
Yeah, absolutely everyone. No one stayed out.
Looking to beat DeGroot out.
Nick DeGroot wins the race off pit lane just barely from Matt Wagner. George Anzaldo comes out 3rd, Kobe Moore 4th, Dylan Moskovich 5th, AJ Hobson 6th, jumping Charles Teed, who's now in 7th. Brandon Pasolak keeps his 8th, Eric Peterson as well. Max Davies jumps up into 10th, going ahead of... who was in 10th? Benjamin Combs, who loses a place as well to Craig Forsyth. Jim Brooks keeping his 13th, AJ Musselman 14th, Gardner 15th, Gary Corley making up a bunch of positions up now from 19th up to 16th. Jeff Hysong losing a position, though did Todd Schneider. Chris Nelson, the biggest loser of that all, and Eric Schaus rounding off the field right now. Joe McAtree just came out of the pit lane, and Nicholas Warnock right at the back of this pack.
Yeah, definitely not a great pit stop by Benjamin Combs. Craig Forsyth going to be the beneficiary out of that. Craig Forsyth not having a very good race early on. Really not having a very good last half of the season. He started out very strong, was contending for a couple of wins, most of which Kentucky definitely had a shot there. But as of late, he hasn't really been there in a position of fight for these wins, and that's definitely hurt his chances at the championship. Mathematically, though, he is still in the fight, but it's looking more and more unlikely by the second. Nick DeGroot going to line up as your race leader. Lights are out on the pace car, so we will be going back green this time by. One thing that Sorry, you go ahead.
No, you go.
All right.
Off to you, sir.
Well, I was actually going to say that in that first run, one of the things that I noticed is that this track racing a lot like a combination between almost Gateway and Texas, where you had a lot of high draft, but you also had these guys lifting through the turns. So I was going to say, Thomas, what do you make out of that first run?
Honestly, it just goes to show that the outside, it has the run on exit, but you have to have the run of the century to be able to do anything with it. So when you go on the entry into those turns, the outside lane loses absolutely everything. So, the inside is going to be super important to protect unless you can get, unless you know that the guy can get around you on the outside because he's on much fresher tires, at which point you should probably, I would say, through turns 1 and 2, still hold the inside. Through turns 3 and 4, maybe go lane 2, lane 3 even.
Yeah, that multi-groove hasn't quite developed yet here at Motegi. We're definitely seeing that inside line being very favorable in turns 1 and 2. 3 and 4, though, driver's kind of able to move around just a little bit. Pace car is off. Nick DeGroot going to stack him up and light him up. We're back green and Motegi. No, he's... What? Okay. Well, everyone kind of stacking up at the restart. DeGroot just decided not to go.
Yeah, we had a little Constantina effect going on there. Quite dangerous in these cars. All it takes is one guy to go up someone else's backside, and we have a whole chain reaction of guys getting damaged, front end rear wings. And there you go, Matt Wagner trying to make a move around the outside. As I was saying, he has almost cleared his 3 wide for the lead.
Oh,
Wagner. George Anzaldo, and Wagner. Wagner, though, has some momentum on the outside. That's what I was talking about. And now George Anzaldo has sent it to the inside of the racetrack and is now... and Matt Wagner's in the lead. Nick DeGroot having to hold that second groove, just make it so he has absolutely minimal aero push, and he's going to have the momentum coming down the back straight.
Oh, look at Anzaldo, 3 wide going for 3, trying to make it work on the inside. Anzaldo to the front, Wagner up the track. Oh, and they're spinning behind. Charles Teed sliding, he saves it. They're still wrecking. They all keep it off the racetrack. Dylan Moskowitz spinning down into the pit lane. No caution. We stay green. Anzaldo to the race lead over DeGroot and Covey Moore.
Yeah, Matt Wagner, the biggest loser in all of that, falling down to 4th now, where he's looking to make a move on Covey Moore, who was slow out of turn 2. Matt Wagner chose to go to the outside of the racetrack. Not entirely sure why he did that. But you know what? We got to live with our choices, and there's some smoke still coming out of turn 4.
That's just from the pit lane. We're all good in that regard. George Anzaldo has taken the lead for the first time, I believe, since Homestead. His first start of the season, he's going to lead, and I believe this is his 3rd start now. But DeGroot fighting back on the inside.
Nick DeGroot just took back the lead from Anzaldo, who is going to have the momentum down the back straight, looking to make another move. He's on the outside, trying to maybe get the momentum out of turn 4. He's going to fail to do so, and he's going to fall back a little ways from Nick DeGroot. He's going to catch back up, though, with that draft, but he's not going to be able to do anything about it. He's going to have to choose the second groove.
Oh, look at that. He's going for the outside. He's going for it, going down the back straightaway.
Very loose. Anzaldo got very loose there through turn 2. And now, you see, they are starting to build a little gap to Matt Wagner, so they can afford to do this battle. They can't do it too much, however, but Matt Wagner has, in fact, overtaken Covey Moore.
One thing that I am noticing is that...
Covey Moore is back on the inside. Sorry to interrupt you, Jonathan. Covey Moore back on the inside, taking back his 3rd place very quickly. And Matt Wagner, nothing you can really do about it. He's going to try and force it back. However, down the back straight, he's looked to get the momentum, failed to do so, and it's still side by side at the front. George Anzaldo, he kind of moves up the racetrack to get a better entry into the corner, but he just doesn't seem to have the speed on exit that Nick DeGroot does because of that difference in line. The only reason why he's catching back up is because of that draft, and then he has just so much speed heading into turn 1 and 2, moves up the racetrack, tries to get the momentum down the back straight, which he is doing. He's then going to pull up beside Nick DeGroot, move up to the top of the racetrack, and there he goes. Very nicely done. Throws it deep into turns 3 and 4. Nothing you can do, though. Nick DeGroot still holds on to that lead behind
Yeah,
Kobe Moore has caught up to this wee battle. Sorry,
all right,
Jonathan.
now I'm going to interrupt you. One thing that I am noticing is that in turns 3 and 4 particularly, I think that bottom line might be starting to generate a little bit of heat. It's starting to lose grip. We're seeing that outside line being able to hold even through the middle of the turns, and I think we're going to see that once again here out of George Anzaldo. He's going to drop back in line, that we see that arrow push just making him jump out of the gas. Nothing you can really do about it in cars that have this many aero components. 3-car, 4-car breakaway at the front of the field. Defensive lines going into turn number 1, but all that downforce keeping the cars on the turns. Meanwhile, Kobe Moore trying to generate a run from 3rd as Anzaldo still looking at trying to take the lead away. Headed for turn 3 now, Anzaldo trying to get out of that groove, trying to get out of the dark rubbered-in part of the racetrack, but it's going to push him up just a little bit. Kobe Moore had to get out of the way as Anzaldo came down the track to block. Moore moving to the outside. They're still looking side by side for the lead. That outside line continuing to develop, but still not as strong as that inside one.
Yep, Kobe Moore tried to make it 3 wide, though, heading down the front straight. He tries to do it again, heading into turn 3. Nothing he can really do. He's going to have a look and see if he can get the momentum on Anzaldo. Nothing he can do on this occasion. Not going to quite be close enough, I don't think. Heading into turns 1 and 2. He has to really be alongside to do anything about it. Battle behind, though. Benjamin Combs and Brandon Passalacqua. Brandon Passalacqua making the move nicely on Benjamin Combs through turns 1 and 2. Behind, no real other battles except for this big battle. That is 9th place between Max Davies, Eric Schaus, Josh Gardner, and Gary Corley as Eric Schaus. And Max Davies almost around, getting tagged a little bit from, I think that is Josh Gardner. It is Josh Gardner. Josh Gardner just sliding up the racetrack into Max Davies, getting him a little loose, and losing 3 positions in the process.
So a little bit of trouble going on towards the back, but they're side by side for the lead again. Watch Anzaldo heading to that outside line, going for turn number 3. We're seeing that outside line every lap getting a little bit faster, but not quite fast enough. Down the front straightaway, trying to break the draft as they head for turns number 1 and 2. Anzaldo back to the outside line, trying to get around De Groot. No luck just yet.
Yeah, you can see Matt Wagner, I believe that is, trying to come back into the equation with Kobe Moore, who's pulling a little bit further back from this front battle of De Groot and Anzaldo. Anzaldo still trying to make that move around the outside. Nothing he can still do about it, though.
Yeah, that outside line actually might have been a little weaker that time by. That's one of the benefits that we get by running this V6 tire model on the IndyCars, the DW12 IndyCars, to be specific, is that multiple lines they develop, they go away as the track heats up and cools down. It's not something we get on the newest tire model anymore, so it's very refreshing to see some of this multi-groove racing coming back on this V6 model and on the DW12 IndyCars. George Anzaldo still looking at that outside line, trying to hold De Groot down to that white line. It is not going to work. De Groot holding on to the lead.
Yeah, you can see it now. Kobe Moore has caught back up, and Matt Wagner has dropped back a little bit. Kobe Moore is going to try and have another run of it. He's probably cooled down his tires. And now he's going to have a look at it. You can see George Anzaldo making it 2 wide down the back straight. Looking into turns 3 and 4, he has a good run.
They're both pushing up the track, though. They're both pushing up the track. Good run by Anzaldo. He's going to be able to hold side by side down the front straightaway. Watch for Moore.
He has the arrow push from Moore heading into turn 1 and 2. He has the outside line, which is going to become favorable at some point.
Not yet, though. Not yet.
Really do.
Yeah, that outside line just hasn't come in quite yet. Just enough, but they're 3 wide for the lead once again. Never mind, back to 2 wide.
Yet we're a quarter of the way through this race now, lap 30 of 120. So now is a good time to remind you that this series would not be possible without the support from thebuttkicker.com.
And Lionheart.
As George Anzaldo to the inside. We'll continue the ad break in a second. George Anzaldo to the lead of the race. Nick De Groot is going to try and have another look and see what he can do about it. He's going to try and make the dive to the inside. Never mind, changes his mind. Gives Anzaldo the dummy. Goes right to the outside of the racetrack. Into turns 3 and 4. Kobe Moore almost.
Lots of understeer for Anzaldo, though. Lots of understeer. It's going to push him up the track now. Down the front straightaway, De Groot is going to have to follow him. Not getting in that slipstream, though. Trying to get a wider entry for 1. It is not going to work. De Groot fell back just a little bit. He is going to have the run, though. We'll see what they can do off 2.
Yep. As long as Anzaldo protects that inside line, Nick De Groot can't do anything about it at this stage. But remember, that top groove will begin to rubber in and properly become false as this race moves on. We're only on lap 32 of 120 in this race. This is going to be action-packed, folks, so make sure you stick around until the end. I think I can finish the ad. I can finish the ad break
I think
now.
you can too.
Yeah, so this series would not be possible without the support from thebuttkicker.com.
And
They make
also
these
Lionheart.
really and
I've
Lionheart.
been told I need to mention that. So and also Lionheart.
And as I say that, as we start saying that, Nick DeGroot back up the inside of Anzaldo.
Oh!
As Anzaldo goes wide, Anzaldo's making the switch back, going back to the inside of DeGroot, heading into turns 1 and 2, and back to the lead goes Anzaldo. He's got to protect the inside line.
Not going to be able to do it, though. You're going to see DeGroot is going to... Oh, maybe not, though. DeGroot got up to him too fast, had to go to the outside. But the thing that I noticed right there is that George Anzaldo went about 4 lanes off the bottom, much higher than anyone's ran before. He was able to make it work, so it makes me think that those 2 lanes now at the bottom are actually starting to get hot. They're starting to lose grip, and I think that very outside line is actually starting to cool down and come in quite a bit. Back towards turn number 1, we'll see if DeGroot can use that to his advantage. Not quite there yet.
Yeah, certainly. You can see he's still going to the outside of the racetrack. Anzaldo still protecting that inside-isher line. And doing well there. Nick DeGroot falling back through turns 3 and 4. He's going to have the momentum, though, coming out of turns 4. And you can see Anzaldo goes to the inside to defend. Nick DeGroot can't quite catch up as we're heading now into turns 1 and 2.
Just going to stick it on that outside. Nick DeGroot, big run coming on the high side. He's going to try it down the back straightaway, headed for 3. And Zaldo moving up the track, trying to push him up towards that outside wall. We'll see what line DeGroot runs here in 3 and 4. Not sure if that's high enough, though, because I think that second line is starting to heat up, starting to lose grip. And Zaldo stays at the front.
Yep. Okay, I think we carry on the ads.
Wait, I think we need to do it really quickly. So, this series would not be possible without the support of thebuttkicker.com and also Lionheart. Links are in the description. You can get...
And Nick DeGroot's going back to the inside.
Side by side for the lead again. Nick DeGroot on that inside line. Anzaldo trying to hold on to the high side. Anzaldo moving a little bit higher than we saw DeGroot go in. He had to move that outside line. But now it's not going to work out for Anzaldo and Nick DeGroot. Back to the front of this Dark Horse IndyCar Series race presented by thebuttkicker.com and also Lionheart. I think I got it in. There are codes in the description. Side by side for the lead again.
Oh, Nick DeGroot doing the old blink. Getting that net code.
I didn't see it on my screen. That might be for you.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Content.
All right. There's enough content going out on track right now, though, because Nick DeGroot and George Anzaldo having a very good battle. Battle for third going on as well. Matt Wagner, Covey Moore going at it for that last spot on the podium. Nick DeGroot back at the front. They have now gone 26 laps on their fuel run. We've seen a fuel run here in the Dark Horse IndyCar Series be around 30 laps, so we'll see if green flag pit stops come into the equation. I'll tell you one thing, though, Nick DeGroot, if he wins this race, it was absolutely not a dominant victory. Anzaldo has been pressuring him for these first 39 laps, and it doesn't look like that pressure is letting up anytime soon.
Certainly, yeah, you can see Anzaldo catching right up to the back of DeGroot through turns 1 and 2, going right to the way to the top of the racetrack, trying to get that nice outside line, which is cooler than that inside line at this stage of the race, but not quite to the point yet where it is dominant.
Yeah, what I think we're going to start to see is that as the tires wear, everyone kind of goes back down to that low line, because I think as the tires wear, they're just going to be better on a shorter distance, and I don't think there's much we can do about that. And although it's starting to drop off just a little bit, makes me think that his tires might be getting a little bit worn here. Never mind. There he goes again, trying to get up to the bumper of the 89, but very tight through 3 and 4. Not going to make the run stick. Matt Wagner coming up on his bumper now. Lap 42 underway.
Yep. Matt Wagner is, he's trying to say, he wants to come up. He's saying, hey, boys, mind if I join? So he's probably has cooler tires than the guys at the front. He's probably been saving them more. So you never know. Maybe we will be able to see him just absolutely storm up into the lead.
And I think what we saw right there is the product of, like you said a little bit earlier, that very inside line starting to heat up just a little bit because Nick DeGroot, he made the choice to go a little bit like one lane off the bottom. So I think that could be a sign of things to come as this race goes on. Something tells me that they're going to be running a lot higher than that come lap 110. Down the back straightaway, we see our first driver who has come into the pit lane. I believe that was the... I can't tell from my screen, but I believe that might have been Todd Schneider as we see Nick DeGroot. Oh, we got to fight for the lead. George Anzaldo is taking it back over Nick DeGroot. Didn't notice that while I was looking at pit stops. Matt Wagner still in third. Nick DeGroot to second. George Anzaldo to the race lead again.
Something happened to Joe McAtree. He hit the outside wall through turns 3 and 4, and he's just trying to limp it back to the pit lane. Almost hits Dylan Moskovitz, actually, as he's heading down the front stretch. So I'm guessing he's just trying to limp it back to the pits. Yep, that's what we saw happening. And he is now in pit lane getting repairs to that DW12 car. Coming out of the pits now is Joe McAtree.
McAdory out of the pits. Meanwhile, George Anzaldo trying to hold off this lead over Nick DeGroot. 32 laps on their fuel run now. A couple of drivers have started to come into the pits, including Josh Garner, who is currently in the pit lane. Meanwhile, Nick DeGroot on that high line, taking back the lead here on lap 45 of 120 at the stripe. It'll be 46. Right away, you see him crossing down to the inside, trying to defend that preferred groove, specifically through turns 1 and 2. Second driver into the pits, it's Benjamin Combs. Down the back, Anzaldo still trying to hunt down Nick DeGroot, but now Anzaldo pulling off the racetrack. He is coming into the pits along with Nick DeGroot. So your leader's coming in. Anzaldo slides it into the pit lane, but I think it's not really going to cost him any time. He'll get the pit limiter engaged and cruise up on the rear bumper, I say, knowing that those things are not bumpers, of Nick DeGroot. Into the pit lane they go. We'll see which one is able to get out first, or we'll see if maybe the overcut almost from Matt Wagner is going to work out.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing it will all depend on whether or not, and Musselman is pitting in as well, so is Moskovitz. At the same time, Nick DeGroot,
Winning the race off pit road.
Did he push fuel?
He probably did, and he is going to win the race off pit road. That gap that is extended over the 6th, technically, although I believe the number on his car is 81. The 6th of George Anzaldo, that might have just been from the pit boxes they are in, but that is easily recoverable by way of the draft. Moore and Wagner both into the pits now, looking for the overcut to work out for him. We'll see how that turns out. Nick DeGroot, I don't think it is going to work out because DeGroot is already heading back down the front straightaway. Wagner heading into turn
Kobe
number
Morris
1.
out of pit lane. So is Matt Wagner.
Actually, maybe it will work.
Heading through turn 2.
Oh.
Heading towards that blue cone. Oh. Blue cone now.
It's worked. Matt Wagner to the race lead off the overcut. New leader, the 99.
Yep, so Matt Wagner has pulled off the strategy.
And Anzaldo's lost 2 spots in the pit lane. Went from 2nd all the way down to 4th.
Yep, Nick DeGroot, however, is up right behind Matt Wagner for that lead. But remember, Nick DeGroot has warmed up his tire properly, and he has 1 lap to wear them in nicely. Get to the point where there's grip. He also has momentum coming down into turns 3 and 4. Nothing to do on this occasion.
Yeah, but the one thing to consider for later on in the race is that now Wagner has 1 lap fresher tires, and it may not seem like much, but I think it's going to make quite a bit of a difference here. Matt Wagner taking that inside line. He looks like he is actually on pace with Nick DeGroot. A lot of that close-up might just be from the draft. It's very hard to gauge when the draft is as high as it is. Nick DeGroot going to the outside line, headed for turn 3. Maybe trying to use that second line. He's back down to the first line, so not going to try an alternative line to get a run on the leader. We are now working lap 51 of 120, slowly working our way towards halfway.
Yep, Nick DeGroot all over the back of Wagner now. This might be the new Anzaldo who he's battling with. You never know. Nick DeGroot to the outside of the racetrack. Matt Wagner doing well to hold it on the inside. Looking now, heading into turns 3 and 4, holding the inside line nicely. Moving up the racetrack a little bit. Nick DeGroot's going to have and Nick DeGroot has momentum. He's going down the inside, heading into turns 1 and 2 on lap 52 of his 120 lap race.
Matt Wagner, though, holding strong on the outside line. I think Nick DeGroot, I can speak, is going to clear him. Going through 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway, once again, Nick DeGroot leading over Matt Wagner. Looking inside, not going to make the move work. Meanwhile, George Anzaldo has worked his way back up in a 3rd, trying to hunt down your race leaders, looking for that race lead once again.
Yep, certainly. And you see Matt Wagner as well, trying in vain there to have a look around the outside. He's going to have the momentum though coming out of the corner. He's sliding to the inside, faking, selling Nick DeGroot the dummy almost, and moving right to the outside of this racetrack. Keeping it nice and high on the entry, tightening it back up on exit, getting himself the momentum to head down into turns 1 and 2. Nick DeGroot goes straight down to the bottom of the racetrack, defending his position. And there you go. Matt Wagner moving back up to the top of the racetrack. Using
Oh,
that
slow car in the
second
way. That's the 33 Nicholas Wannock. What's happened to him? Wannock has
I'm
lost
not-
a front end. His car is all sorts of out of shape going down the back. It's crab walking, basically sideways.
He hit the wall. He hit the wall coming out of turn 4.
Quite violently, apparently. That ripped off the front
Very
wing of his
violently.
car.
He hit it at approximately 178 miles an hour.
Well, that is a lot of speed.
That is a fair amount of speed, yes.
Down the back straightaway, once again, Nick DeGroot trying to extend his advantage over Matt Wagner. If you were wondering where that gap between him and Anzaldo came from, well, here it is. Nick DeGroot had a 7.9 second pit stop, and Anzaldo had an 8.1 second pit stop. And that little bit of a gap made quite a big difference when they came back out onto the racetrack.
Yep. Remember as well, these drivers, when we say, the amount of aero push they're going to get, aero wake. Is that aero
Dirty
understeer?
air, but continue.
Dirty air. There you go, dirty air. These drivers are going to get is that, they are doing, through turns 1 and 2, approximately 213 miles an hour.
That's very fast.
So they are doing 213 miles an hour into some very unstable air. So that is when we say that they're going to have a heck of a lot of dirty air, it means that the air molecules are going absolutely everywhere. So the aero parts on the car,
yes.
yeah. So the aero parts on the car can't use that air as efficiently as they usually would, and means that they then produce less downforce, which is why you see Matt Wagner in this case a lot of times through turns 1 and 2 using that second lane and trying just desperately not to be straight up behind Nick DeGroot. And as I say that, he immediately goes straight behind Nick DeGroot.
And another thing that you do have to consider is that these cars have such a giant spoiler that they're punching a pretty decent hole in the air, which is, one, allowing for a pretty big slipstream, but two, it's taking away some of the air that these cars use for downforce as they go through the turns. So although they get a little bit of a slipstream benefit, it's taken away in the fact that they lose a lot of their downforce.
Yeah, so, and you'll see as well, that's why when we, towards the end of run, when the cars start to get light, that's when we start to see, these instances that we have, people losing the rear end into corners just because the air isn't as stable over the cars. And of course, their cars are then lighter. So then there are more mistakes that are happening due to the cars being more unstable.
Yeah, and also the fuel running out as well, so there's less physical substance actually weighing the car down onto the track. Makes it a lot lighter, a lot more spin heavy. Meanwhile, through turns 1 and 2, Matt Wagner trying to chase down Nick DeGroot. Once again, he's gotten closer and closer to that rear wing, closer to the gearbox, looking outside. But he's going to try and back up his entry here, maybe get a nice run off too. He's going to fall back quite a bit, though. He's got to drive it in just a little bit deeper than that.
Yep, Matt Wagner, yep, there you go. You can see him. He's moving out of the dirty air of Nick DeGroot, doing well in doing so, and that means he's going to have much more speed heading down the back straight and looking towards turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, we are now at halfway. Nick DeGroot has led most of this race. However, it's definitely not been an easy time leading. Matt Wagner and George Anzaldo and Covey Moore to a certain extent have all been pressuring him for that race lead. Going into turns 3 and 4, Wagner once again, or 1 and 2, Wagner once again trying that outside line. Sometimes I get a little bit confused because I'm very used to Darlington Raceway, which has a tight, a very open 1 and 2 and a tight 3 and 4, but this track just has different 3 and 4s. No, it's pretty much the same thing. Ignore that. Down the front straightaway, Nick DeGroot gonna have to go a little narrow into turn number 1. Wagner trying to take advantage. Unfortunately, he is now gonna have the dirty air of 2 separate cars, so that might not help him out. It's kind of going to take away that second line. 2.5 tenths just about for the race lead.
Yep, Todd Schneider, he's doing all right to get out of the way, but he's going to have to make sure he doesn't interfere with the race of the leaders or the battle going on behind for that third place. George Anzaldo leading Covey Moore in that battle for third place.
At the moment, Nick DeGroot has been on his tires for 17 laps, Wagner only for 16, so this is where we might see that very, very slight difference come into play because we know how much tire performance is going to matter here, especially when you got turns where you really have to lift for him in order to make them.
Yeah, you most certainly do, so you never know. Maybe Matt Wagner is just going to start chilling on his tires, making sure he really knows he has that tire advantage before really pushing Nick DeGroot at the later stages, and defensive goes George Anzaldo, heading into turn 1. obviously feeling the pressure now from Kobe Moore in that factory-backed number 15 car.
Really quick, listen to the engine of Wagner here as he goes to 3. He isn't shifting, which I find very odd. We'll listen into Nick DeGroot because I know that that's something you can do. Listen in this time by to the 89. 1 and 2, it's flat. He's not shifting. But in 3 and 4, I think he's going to send it into a different gear here.
Wagner does also put it in 5th gear. There you go. Matt Wagner down to 5th. Nick DeGroot down to 4th.
Yeah, Wagner is using 5th and 6th, and I don't think that's very good for his cornering speeds. Because you're noticing that Nick DeGroot is getting a lot higher revs through the turns. I got a feeling that Matt Wagner, he might want to try out that 4th gear. I mean, I get it on the straightaways, you need to be in a higher gear to actually get in the slipstream, but I'm a little bit surprised that Wagner isn't playing around with that 4th gear.
Yeah, because Nick DeGroot never moves out of that 5th gear.
Well, he is the leader, and it's giving you optimal engine performance, but when you're in the draft, you want to have a little bit more redline space to work with so you can get a little bit more speed out of the draft. It's just very interesting to me that Wagner has not tried out 4th gear, because I think it might keep him a little bit more
Caution's
even.
out.
And a caution.
Why is there a caution now?
Oh, big crash. It's Nelson again. Flipping into turn 3. Caution's out.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Chris Nelson is very upside down. Heading into turn 3, and you can see, having a look at the replay, she was involved with Josh Gardner. You know, these two battling all day.
Oh, Nelson just came up the track.
Yeah, Nelson moved about a foot up the racetrack, and then netcode plus contact equals flipping cars, damage everywhere, and multi-million-dollar machines ruined and going straight to the scrapyard.
What that isn't something that I've seen before. Take a look at this. You're going to see it. I have to speed it up a little bit, but you're going to see it here down the back straightaway. Nelson is going to get sent into the catch fence, tearing off the front of her car. She comes across on the 12. They make wheel-to-wheel contact. And you're going to see that pink and black number 13 gets pinched up against the outside wall, literally gets sent flying into the air on the straightaway. And that just tears the front wing off the 13.
Yeah, you can see she goes straight up like one of those 1987 NASCARs in iRacing when they do that flipping thing. Then...
Oh, that's not what they're called. But yeah, you're going to see Nelson...
Blowovers, aren't they called blowovers?
Yes. You said flippy things, which I thought was funny. But yeah, Nelson just lands straight on her nose, flips back up into the air. Wow, that was not good. I can't imagine what that would have looked like with the new damage model, except I kind of want to see it.
Pretty much, sorry, all drivers except Joe McIntyre, who I'm guessing is getting a lap back. Apart from that, every single other driver has decided to pit in this race.
Watch the race off, by the way. Watch the race off here. Wagner going to not beat DeGroot out, but it was close. Anzaldo into 3rd, Moore back to 4th. This is going to be a very big break for George Anzaldo, who is now going to be on the same tire strategy as everyone else, and also going to have the benefit of being right up to the leaders.
Eric Schaus just dominated pit lane.
Really?
He wasn't 17th and no laps down, and he's now sat in what is effectively 6th.
Yeah, I have a feeling there might have been a scoring error on your end, because I don't think he would have made up that many spots. What do you... Oh, I know why. Because he pitted a lap before everyone else did. That's why.
Oh, that does make sense.
Yeah, I know. Wait, does it? Hold on. Let's back it up. Let's back up the tape. Oh.
Yeah.
What?
Let's figure it out.
All right. Well, ATVO is telling me he's been on this stint for 1 lap. He just came out of the pits. Everyone else is on 0. I don't know what to make of that.
Sorry, no. It was a scoring error because he came into the pits in 6th. My bad.
Well, he came out in 6th, so that makes sense. We're going to cut away for just a moment here, and we will be right back.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt kicker. The future is feeling.
And we're back live here on TMG. Thomas will be rejoining us in just a moment. He's gone off to get a drink, as did I, under commercial, sorry. But we are back live. Lap 71 of 120, 50 laps remaining here in the twin ring Motegi. Nick de Groot has led most of this race. However, Matt Wagner and George Anzaldo, his two biggest challengers, are restarting right behind him on this restart. It's definitely going to be a very, very interesting restart. At least what I made out of that last stint is that outside line, it's definitely starting to come in. You see drivers kind of experimenting a little bit with the different lines they run. The other thing that I'm noticing is that these drivers are using a couple of different gears. Nick de Groot we saw running down in 4th gear through the turns. Meanwhile, Matt Wagner was actually working 5th gear and 6th, very hard word to say, on the straightaway. So a couple of different strategies, not only in the lines they take, but in the gears they are using. That has led to a little bit of a speed difference here between these drivers. That's one of the benefits of these Indy cars, is that 4th, 5th, and 6th gears are all very, very close together, which means you can kind of play around with them in the turns. So the lights are out on the pace car. We will be going back green this time by on lap 73. That's the best number of 120.
73 is my racing number.
That's my racing number.
Is it?
Yes.
So we share a birthday and a racing number.
I use 73 for every single league I'm in. If I ever get into a league with you, I'm using either 730 or 073. Alright, we'll be restarting this time by Matt Wagner, going to be in 2nd. Nick de Groot, your race leader, under 50 to go on this restart. I have a feeling that unless we get a ton of cautions, these last couple of laps are going to wind down very, very quickly. And if you're Matt Wagner, that's probably not a good thing. Coming back to the restart zone, 99 in 2nd. Nick de Groot, your race leader. We'll see if he does something similar to last time where he stacked everyone up before going, or if he goes nice and early. Pace car going to make that left turn off the banking and into the pit lane, into the safety of the pit wall, and de Groot is gone.
Green, green, green.
Absolutely, immediately left the whole pack absolutely speechless, and you can already see Kobe Moore is looking now to make a move up the inside
Of George Anzaldo, yeah.
Yeah, so that's Kobe Moore up into 3rd. George Anzaldo looking to lose another place as well to Brandon Pasalacqua,
I don't think
who
he's
we
looking
haven't
to
really
do that.
seen much of today.
I have a feeling you would quite like to not do that. Eric Schaus taking him 3 wide on the outside line. Really committing to that, going through the turns, but slipping up out of the groove. Not getting it on the wall, but he got very close indeed. Big scramble of cars back in the pack.
Yeah, he moved past Brandon Pasalacqua, who's going to have... Yep, no, he thought better of it. He had another look to see what he could do about it. Nothing on this occasion, I have to say. Eric Schaus really used the Jack Aitken method of the year of the send, heading into turn 3 then.
You're going to see Brandon Pasalacqua here backing it up just a little bit, then getting back in the slipstream down the front straightaway. By the way, speaking of Jack Aitken, I heard that he had some pretty big news over the weekend, so that's very exciting for him.
Matt Wagner has hit the wall.
Who?
Matt Wagner.
Oh, man.
I don't think he did, but it was very close if he didn't.
Oh, well, alright, anyways, the battle for the lead is starting to heat up. Matt Wagner has gotten onto the bumper of the 89, but this battle back in the pack still raging on. Covey Moore has fallen back just a little bit. Benjamin Combs coming with a big run down the front straightaway. Looking outside, trying to stay in the slipstream of the 15. But as I was saying, Jack Aitken, pretty big news over the weekend that he'll be starting with Williams in Bahrain, so very exciting for him. Very exciting battle for the lead as well, as Matt Wagner looking to stay in the slipstream of the 89, coming lap 77 of 120.
Yeah, so congratulations to Jack Aitken. News was announced this morning that he will be replacing George Russell, who's going to Mercedes to replace Lewis Hamilton.
Decently exciting news for George Russell.
Yes, decently. He really needs to give me some PowerPoint tips.
Side by side for 2nd, and Zaldo holding that inside line. Eric Schaus back to the outside. Sorry, this is 3rd, not 2nd. Battle for the final spot on the podium is Covey Moore falling back just a little bit. And Zaldo, though, looking to clear. Schaus for 3rd. He is going to make that move work. Battle for the lead starting to fizzle out a little bit. Matt Wagner falling off the back of Nick de Groot. Battle for 3rd, just as strong as ever. We got a 3-car fight for that spot. Covey Moore looking to fight his way up the inside of Eric Schaus. 3 wide down the back. Schaus nearly squeezing Moore into the outside wall. That could have been very messy indeed.
Oh, contact with the wall further back. That was Dylan Moskovitz. I think it was Dylan Moskovitz, yeah. He looked to have just made contact with the outside wall. It seems to have just been a little bit of a rub. He should be all right.
Yeah, Moskovitz not having a particularly great day here in Motegi. He's coming off a very, very strong run in Texas. Unfortunately, the luck has not been repeated today. Nick DeGroot leading the way over Matt Wagner, still on lap 79 of 120, working 80 at the stripe.
Yep, your biggest improver so far tonight has been Eric Schell, starting 19th on the grid, up in 4th at this present time, battling with George Anzaldo for that 3rd place, doing well to hold it around the outside. Going to have the momentum coming out of turn 2, looking down towards turn 3 now. Side by side, almost fully, almost even with George Anzaldo. Going to have to make it so that he can get to the inside of this racetrack, however, if he wants to do anything about it.
Yeah, that seems to kind of be the Eric Schell strategy, especially as of late, just kind of starting in the back, working his way up towards the front. By the end of the race, he's fighting for a podium. 40 to go here at Motegi. Eric Schell still trying to find his way around George Anzaldo. Given we go green until the end, there will be one more round of green flag pit stops coming up in just over 20
Eric Schell's inside.
laps.
Eric Schell's inside of George Anzaldo and up into that 3rd place. Good move from the driver of the number 72 car.
Yeah, I have a feeling if Eric Schauss is able to qualify more, he might actually be able to fight for these wins quite a lot more often. We actually saw it back at Watkins Glen. He was actually able to fight for the win until a little bit of a run-in with Alexander Van de Sant. He might actually be able to fight for the win again come next weekend in Donington. Next week, not weekend.
Yep, and there will be another track guide coming for that race in Donington. We tend to do them for the road courses because there's something a little bit
car going wide off forward, Anzaldo into the wall.
You see everyone absolutely scrambling to try and avoid an incident that was bound to come. But fortunately for George Anzaldo, didn't. And just a quick reminder, your retirees from this race are Kristen Nelson and Nicholas Wonick, retiring 14 and 29 laps to go, respectively. Gary Corley sat 18 laps down, still in pit lane. I'm pretty sure his night has pretty much had it.
Brennan Pasalacqua getting out of the bumper of Covey Moore. Looking to the outside now, headed for turns 1 and 2. Battle for the lead. Not really there. 2.5 tenths between your top two as Pasalacqua tries to make a charge for 4th.
Yep, he is. Covey Moore on the outside. Yep, just cuts right down in front of Pasalacqua. Nothing Pasalacqua can do on this occasion. Covey Moore turning his focus now towards
side by side for second. No, we're not. We are not side by side for second. I thought we were. We're not side by side anywhere. Best battle on the track right now for 4th.
That was for 7th, I think. 7th and 8th, AJ Hobson and 6th. Benjamin Combs and AJ Hobson. Benjamin Combs back to the inside of AJ Hobson, taking back his 6th place, which he lost just 2 corners ago. Side by side again ahead between Brendan Pasalacqua and Covey Moore for that 4th place. Eric Schauss just kind of sitting there on his own with Matt Wagner up ahead of him, trying desperately to cling on to the back of Nick DeGroot. 3.5 tenths in between them at the end of lap 85. Now on lap 86, 35 laps to go.
Tell us really quickly, just make sure that you're not behind, because I think you might be a little bit behind on the live broadcast. Brendan Pasalacqua, oh my goodness, big moving down the front straightaway. Pasalacqua coming from the wall to the inside wall, and Covey Moore sliding all over the track, trying to break the draft. Battle at the front, not really there, like I've said before. Wagner is within striking distance, just not in a position to try and take away this race win. However, Eric Schauss definitely in a much better position than the leaders, as he isn't fighting with anyone, so he doesn't have to burn up his tires. Side by side for 4th again.
Big battle, though, going on for what I believe is 10th place between Dylan Moskovich, Craig Forsyth, Josh Gardner, Eric Peterson, Jeff Hai-Sung, AJ Musselman, and Jim Brooks. So from about 9th all the way up to 15th, all in a battle there for the for the final 2 spots in the top 10. Craig Forsyth and Dylan Moskovich holding those.
We're side by side for the lead. Wagner looking outside, not able to get there. I've been actually focusing on this battle for 5th or 4th for the past couple laps, because it is getting very, very intense between these two drivers. Pasalacqua just kind of waiting in the wings, trying to force a mistake out of Covey Moore. Looking back to the outside, squeezed against the outside wall. We know that Kobe Moore, one of the more aggressive drivers in this league, definitely not afraid to fight it out, elbows out with Brandon Pasalacqua.
Yeah, he most certainly is. Side by side now for 4th and 6th, respectively. You see Brandon Pasalacqua making the move on Kobe Moore, and Benjamin Combs moves ahead of AJ Hobson.
Kobe Moore nearly getting into the bumper of Pasalacqua, going into turn 3 and 4. But I think that might have just gotten very, very close. The camera just zoomed in a little bit, made it look like there was contact. Back down the front straightaway once again.
Kobe Moore just wanted a little bit of that closer look at that rain light on the back of the number 23 car. And man, he got a close look indeed. And down to the inside of the racetrack, all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. Blimey.
Kobe Moore is waiting to make that move to the inside. He's getting later and later every time he does it. It is making me very nervous every time that happens. Speaking of which, rain light, rain confirmed at iRacing? Okay. Back down the front straightaway.
Matt Wagner tried to make another move on Nick DeGroot, not able to do it on this occasion. Having a look now at the battle for 9th place, they're catching up to Craig Forsyth.
You don't want to keep looking at the battle for 4th. This is getting pretty good here. Pasalacqua back to the outside, headed for 3. Trying to make that outside line work. We'll check in on the battle for the 9th. Dylan Moskovitz and Craig Forsyth starting to Constantine up just a little bit behind Jeff Hysong, going for it on Eric Peterson for 1.
Yeah, these drivers were all within about a second a minute ago. All 6 or 7 of them. It was absolutely insane. They're starting to spread out a little bit more now. I'm guessing they're kind of starting to settle in with their tires. But Dylan Moskovich trying to make a move on Craig Forsyth for that 8th place. And they're also catching up to Charles Teed in the number 27 car, sat in 7th place. Battle for 5th place now. AJ Hobson ahead of Benjamin Combs. And who are we missing?
Pasalacqua and Moore. Eric Schaus.
Yeah, what happened? Yeah, what was happening to Eric Schaus? Eric's gone a lap down.
Eric he's pitted. He's going for the undercut.
He's pulled the trigger.
Could this work? For it. Could this work? He pitted 3 laps ago.
Yeah, he put it on lap 90 through 91.
This might work. He's going to get a very good undercut on DeGroot and Wagner. The question is, how important is that track position going to be? We're going to find out. Brennan Pasalacqua and Kobe Moore still side by side for 3rd. Schaus might have to look for a lucky caution. He might get it. Kobe Moore, Pasalacqua, battling it out for that final spot on the podium. Now that Schaus has given it up, gone into the pit lane. We'll see how long DeGroot and Wagner want to extend.
Peterson's also in the pit lane now.
Yeah, Peterson coming in.
So how long has Nick DeGroot been on his tires?
26 laps now.
Yeah, so he boxed on lap 70, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was around lap 70. That's correct. So
yeah, we're on lap 96 now, so about 26 laps he has been on these tires. Remember, 2 of those, however, were under caution. Yeah. So the question is, so he's got about 10 more laps on his fuel stint. We know the overcut is quite powerful here at Motegi. So the question now is, will Eric Schaus have jumped the gun by too much and not have good enough tires by the end?
Well, that's the other thing that concerns me, because Eric Schaus is just set a lap 2/10 slower than Nick DeGroot, so I don't think that's going to be a very good strategy.
He is also in traffic.
That's true. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of this. However, it was definitely a decent effort. Definitely a good idea to at least give it a shot. You know, you don't really have much to lose. He's not exactly in the championship fight. He doesn't really have much to lose by pitting early. Battle for 3rd raging on. Brandon Pasalacqua back to the bumper of Kobe Moore.
Dylan Moskovich is responding, and I think he's going to start pulling the trigger for this midfield to pit, which means the midfield will come out.
He's still out on track right now.
He just sent a message saying he's pitting.
Oh, now he's coming in. There he goes.
There you go.
Benjamin Combs responded right away. He's coming in as well.
Yep, so if these midfield drivers start pulling the gun with each other...
Brooks in as well. Brooks is in as well.
Yeah, so the question is, where are they going to come out in comparison to Nick DeGroot and Matt Wagner?
And DeGroot's coming in. He has pulled the trigger for the leaders. Nick DeGroot into the pit lane. Matt Wagner staying out, going for the overcut. Nick DeGroot is in. No mistakes getting into the pit lane. He's been able to make it in just fine. I don't think he was speeding or anything like that. We'll see if he is having to hold in his box.
He came just crossed the line on lap 99. So,
yeah, we'll see if this works.
Schaus. Yep. So Eric Schaus coming out of turn 2 now.
DeGroot into his box.
There you go. Eric Schaus into turn 3 and 4.
DeGroot is down and away. Schaus rocketing through 3 and 4. I don't think it's going to work.
nowhere near. He's crossed the line now.
Oh, he's going to have to go for it.
Nick DeGroot is closing on that blue line.
And it has not worked. Eric Schaus undercut failed. He is going to close the gap to Nick DeGroot.
Yeah,
but not going to work out.
He has pulled up quite a significant amount, however.
Oh, Matt Wagner staying out. Staying out again.
So Matt Wagner is gonna be absolutely trying to send this overcut because right now he has clear air all the way up to Jeff Hai-Song, who's just going to turn 3 now.
He couldn't be trying to make it to the end, could he?
No, nowhere near.
Yeah, he is. No, he's not.
No, he's not.
Okay.
I think he's gonna try and go all the way to the end of his fuel stint.
Well, I mean, it's worth it, you know? He might also be trying to get a lucky caution. It's something that can happen at a track like this. I mean, I'm not going to discredit it. It's definitely a valiant strategy to try, and I really do appreciate these drivers trying to go out there and make things a little bit interesting. Nick DeGroot right now mired back in 9th in traffic. He's actually getting beaten by right now by Craig Forsyth, who is 33 laps on his tires. So this right here should give you an idea of what a difference on tires makes. Not much. The track's pretty smooth. Well, that's going to make a pretty big difference, so that's because Forsyth has come into the pits, locked it up, but I don't believe there will be a penalty there. Matt Wagner still out on track. We'll see if he comes in this time by. Very interesting here, these guys, to try and extend the fuel stint beyond what it might be capable of, but I want to say Wagner's coming in this time by. No.
Nope.
Oh, he is coming in. Oh no, that was too fast.
that is a penalty. 100% a penalty. Hold on.
Oh, Matt, what are you doing, man? He's probably gonna have to serve it.
His speed at the line was 63 miles an hour. Pit speed limit here is 50.
Well, keep in mind that you can compensate it. You are allowed to compensate it. So if you come in at 60, if he jammed on the brakes and got down to 40, that might be okay, but I don't think it is going to be.
He got down to 30. He got down to 30. He hit 30.
That is not going to work out for him. He is going to have to stay in the pits, serve the penalty. Race over. I think DeGroot has it locked up. Charging back up through the field. He is...
Yep, Nick DeGroot coming through.
Oh, everyone else is pitting right now. That's why. So everyone else coming into the pits. Nick DeGroot, unless somehow AJ Hobson or one of these guys who are pitting is going to be able to beat him out of the pits, I think Nick DeGroot is going to have this race locked up.
Yeah, Matt Wagner still in his box. I'm pretty sure that is a hefty penalty for the 99 car.
I know that there's kind of two levels of penalties. There's speeding and excessive speeding. I think Wagner might have gotten slapped with that excessive speeding in pits.
Yeah, there you go. He's out of the pit lane now, and he will probably be a lap down on DeGroot. Nick DeGroot, never mind, he's not. So he'll be about half a lap behind. But your current leader is Brandon Paslacqua.
No, it's not. Nick DeGroot is currently a race leader. I will say, though, he does have one challenger. He's got Eric Schaus. He's keeping it about a 3-second range. I don't think that Schaus is going to be able to reel him in. But we've seen crazier things happen, especially if a late caution comes out. You see Schaus trying to get all the advantages he can, ducking into the slipstream there. That is AJ Musselman, but now Musselman going to have that inside line. So Schaus is going to have to play his cards right if he even wants a chance at making a win work here. I don't think it's going to work, and I have a feeling that Nick DeGroot might just lock up the championship. Well, maybe not, because Craig Forsyth has worked his way up in a 4th, so I think he might have to wait until Donington to do it. However, Nick DeGroot probably has this race locked up.
Yep, I have a feeling in the championship we're kind of having a Hamilton-Bottas situation where, you know, Bottas is still in the hunt, but Hamilton, we know he's pretty much got it. It's just a case of getting to that race where he will have it.
Well, Hamilton got very lucky because he locked up the championship exactly one race before he was no longer allowed to race for a reason that I don't know if we can say on YouTube without getting thrown off the platform. Thanks, YouTube. So, Hamilton got lucky there, because imagine if he didn't. We would be talking about Valtteri Bottas, 2020 F1 Series champion. Think about that for a minute as we take a look at your race leader, Nick DeGroot. Coming around to start lap 110, 11 to go in this race. At 5 to go, we will no longer be able to have cautions and restart the race. So I think Nick DeGroot has this one locked up.
Are you trying to commentate as curse him here, or what's happening?
Only partially. As a broadcaster, I want drama, but as a racer, Nick DeGroot has absolutely earned it. 10 laps to go at the stripe. I think... I mean, I keep saying it, but I'm pretty sure he has it locked up. Battle on track right now for 4th between Forsyth and Hobson. I think at this point, just Forsyth is trying to basically go on damage control, because there is not much he can do in terms of making inroads on Nick DeGroot for the championship. He can right now just fight for 4th, and that's about it.
Yep. Looking at that battle now, you can see Forsyth all over the back of AJ Hobson. Forsyth looking towards the outside, trying to get a run. He's doing so nicely. Will he go outside or inside? He's gone towards the outside of the racetrack. Nothing he can really do heading into turn 3. Coming out of turn 4 now. What's he going to do? He's going to try and follow the momentum down to the inside. Moving back up to the outside of the racetrack, however, heading into turn 1. You know, the only thing Forsyth will be able to do really is just try and fight it down onto the inside of the racetrack and try and do something from there. But there you go. On the outside now, he's trying to get even with AJ Hobson, failing to do so, heading into turn 3.
Remember the points coming into this race. Nick DeGroot had a 79-point lead over Craig Forsyth. He needed 112 points to lock up the championship. He needed a 112-point lead to lock up this championship. It is almost over for the field. It is almost over. And I think if Craig Forsyth finishes in 5th, I think at that point it's absolutely game over. I do not believe the Indy 500 at the end of the season has double points. Now, if it does, this graphic can be thrown completely out the window. But assuming that it doesn't, Nick DeGroot, I think if Forsyth finishes 5th, it's over.
I am fully agree with you. I will, however, just check quickly to see if it is double points. There's nothing to... Oh, no, the Indy 500 does say it is double points.
Well, then that graphic is completely incorrect. So Nick DeGroot will not have locked up the championship. I don't think it's actually possible for him to lock it up after Donington, unless Craig Forsyth just has the worst possible race and loses a solid. I think... I'm just doing quick math in my head right now, but if the most amount of points you can earn is 56 in a race, multiply that by 2, that's 112. Nick DeGroot would need a 112-point lead after Donington to lock up the championship. It is impossible for DeGroot to lock it up today. However, the championship is all but locked up at this point in time.
Yep, maybe, but maybe not at the same time. You can see Eric Show's 4.7 second gap to Nick DeGroot. Make that 5 seconds as we cross the strip. 5 laps to go here in Motegi. First race outside the USA has...
You know what? It's okay. It's at the end of the race. I think we've actually gone this entire race without mispronouncing anything. And I'm very, very proud of that.
I am as well.
Side by side for 4th again. Craig Forsyth going on a damage control mission, trying to get that 4th place spot before the checkered flag flies, but Nick DeGroot. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, it's been an incredible season for him. He's been probably the best driver out there this entire season. The only driver I can think of that even challenged him, really, was Forsyth. And even then, Forsyth was wildly inconsistent. Overall, going into every race, you knew Nick DeGroot was going to have a very, very good chance at winning, even on races that seemed like they were a complete toss-up. You know, we saw races like Gateway, where he almost wrecked coming out of the pit lane. We saw races like Homestead, where everyone was bunched up in a pack. We saw races like Texas, where he got wrecked, he got flipped, he still outran the 131 of Forsyth. Nick DeGroot, and a caution, will end the race. Nick DeGroot has won. Forsyth will be scored in 5th. Nick DeGroot, winner again.
I'm trying to see. Why is there a caution?
It is Benjamin Combs. Slow in turn 1 and 2 has brought out the caution for the final time today, and Nick DeGroot, driver of the 89, is gonna walk off in dominant fashion to win. Yeah. Oh man, I think this is his 5th win of the season. No, it's got to be more than that. 5th or 6th race win on the season for Nick DeGroot. He's gonna finish it under caution, sure, but that doesn't make it any less deserved. It's been an incredible season, and it's
on that final caution. Benjamin Combs just made contact with Max Davies and just got net coated around. It should have just been a bumper to bumper type situation fender to fender type situation on the side, maybe a bit of wheel to wheel contact.
We'll take a look.
Yeah, but it's got absolutely span around. Nick DeGroot, you're a winner here at Motegi.
Yeah, so the caution brought out by the 77, nothing either driver could do. He should have just got hit up the track. Unfortunately, iRacing does not always work that way. He's trying to limp it around to finish under green, but that thing is hard to drive when it's not going in a straight line. Like I said, I mean, Nick DeGroot, best driver all season. Nothing else I can really say about it. The championship is all but locked up for the driver of the number 89. And after Donington, it could very well be completely locked up, even with the double points that are happening at Indianapolis.
Yep. Final lap here. White flag. Nick DeGroot is your winner. Number 89 car, factory-backed motorsport. Your full finishing order goes like this. Nick DeGroot takes the win from Eric Schaus. Kobe Moore rounds off the podium. AJ Hobson, 4th. Craig Forsyth couldn't do the overtake, stays in 5th. George Anzaldo, after looking promising at the beginning, in 6th. Dylan Moskovich, good solid race for him, up in 7th. Big improvement from qualifying position for Max Davies, 16th to 8th. Eric Peterson started 7th, finished 9th. Jim Brooks, 10th. Jeff Heisong, 11th. Josh Garner and Todd Schneider, 11th and 12th, respectively. 12th and 13th, respectively. Benjamin Combs is the lost driver on the lead lap in 14th. Matt Wagner, after getting his penalty for entering pits too quickly, is your first car on the lap down. Brendan Pasalacqua just behind him, 2 laps down now. You have Charles Teed and Joe McIntyre, as well as AJ Musselman. And your retirees from this race, Kristen Nelson, Gary Corley, and Nicholas Wonick.
So I'll make the
Benjamin
ticker.
Collins has retired.
I was just going to say, I'll make the ticker a little bit bigger there on the left-hand side of your screen. You can see the full race results, the intervals as they cross the line, and also positions gained and position lost. Biggest gainer of the race, Eric Schaus, going from 19th on the grid all the way up to 2nd as Nick DeGroot takes the checkered flag for his 5th or 6th win of the season. I've lost count a couple races ago. But Eric Schaus gained 17 places en route to a 2nd place finish, and unfortunately, it is going to be heartbreak for Matt Wagner, who loses 13 spots en route to finishing 14th after starting from the pole. It's another victory for Nick DeGroot, this time outside of the United States. But either way, incredibly impressive. I mean, he has won at speedways, he's won at short tracks, he's won in intermediates. I mean, is there any? I think it's just road courses that he hasn't won in, and we might see that change next week in Donington. There you can see the factory-back teammates who finished 1st and 3rd on the podium, going bumper to bumper down the back straightaway. Another incredible race here in the Dark Horse Indycar Series. Pretty much every time we hit the track in this series, we know that they are going to put on a great show. We saw it again today. Lots of long green flag runs and a lot of great battles. Wagner is... oh, no. Oh, no. He's upside down. But Nick DeGroot, winner, is going to burn it down here at the Twin Ring Motegi. Well, Thomas, in terms of the championship, we already know the champion. It's basically all but locked up. He would literally have to wreck out lap 1 at Indy or just not start, and Craig Forsyth would have to win. It is essentially all but done. Thomas, what do you make out of the race, and what do you make out of the championship?
Super good race. I mean, Nick DeGroot definitely had to earn this one. Was challenged pretty much the whole way through up until Matt Wagner got his penalty for speeding in pit lane. Super good race, good track. First time going out of the U.S., definitely didn't disappoint. Was worth flying those couple thousand miles over the ocean and not getting any sleep on the plane. All to commentate on this race because it was absolutely massive, good fun, Jonathan.
Yes, I would absolutely like to thank the Dark Horse IndyCar Series admins for buying the plane tickets for us. It was very, very generous of them. All right.
Yeah, thanks, Charles. We appreciate it, man.
And you've already said it, but once again, your final race rundown. Nick DeGroot wins over Eric Schaus, Kobe Moore, AJ Hobson, Craig Forsyth, George Anzaldo, Dylan Moskovitz, Max Davies, Eric Peterson, Jim Brooks, Jeff Heisong, Josh Garner, Todd Schneider, Matt Wagner, Brandon Pasalacqua, Benjamin Combs, 2, Charles Teed, Joe McIntyre, AJ Musselman, Kristen Nelson, Gary Corley, and Nicholas Wonick. Round out your 22 finishers, or 22 starters from this race, only 20 or 19 finishers in the end. It's been another incredible race. We're not going to cut away. We are simply going to bring up Nick DeGroot for one of his many post-race interviews. He's done a lot of these because he happens to win quite a bit. We're going to bring him up in just a minute here. If I can find him. Shouldn't be too hard.
One day, Jonathan, you'll realize I'm one step ahead of you and already bring up.
I mean, I'm going to make that mistake a couple times. Anyways, Nick, you joined us on the TMG broadcast booth. First off, congratulations on your quintillionth win on the season. What was it that got it done for you today?
Yeah, a little deja vu, getting 2 wins at Motegi in 1 week. That's pretty cool. But yeah, this race was just such a clean race, such a straightforward race. And for the most part, it was just, I learned in practice I'm not that strong in traffic here for whatever reason. I had some trouble whenever I was in dirty air. So to solve that problem, I decided, all right, got to stay out front, got to stay in clean air. And that's basically what we did that whole race. We're never really lower than the top 2 or 3. And it was just some great battle up there with George, Matt, Ovi, and a few other guys. But yeah, like I said, very straightforward race. And yeah, at the end, we were going to have a good battle with Matt, but he spun on pit road. So at that point, we were just cruising to the win.
Yeah, Nick, before Matt spun on pit road, were you a bit worried? Because we'd seen previously in the race, the overcut was extremely powerful here at Motegi. So were you worried a bit that he was going to be able to get out ahead of you? And did you think you were going to be able to catch him if he did come out of the pit lane ahead of you?
Yeah, because when I pitted, that was kind of an impulse decision. I was going to wait a few more laps, but I just, in the moment's like, nope, going this lap 100. And I ended up behind, I think, Craig and Charles, and they were battling back and forth for position. So that held me up a little bit, and I started getting a little worried. I'm like, I saw earlier, me and him, how easily we pulled away from George and Covey. So I'm like, I don't want that to happen. I won't even have a shot at him at the end. But lo and behold, he sped on pit road, a mistake I've made myself many times, and just kind of put it in our lap. And that was really one of the major keys, along with staying out front, staying in clean air. Just don't make any mistakes. Stay off that apron. Don't speed. Don't get in the wall. Don't overdrive 3 and 4, which was a tricky corner. And yeah, we did everything right tonight and got a double podium for Factory Backed.
One other thing that I did want to ask you about is the overall championship. Your points lead over Craig Forsyth continues to grow pretty much every single race. The Indianapolis 500 does have double points, so it's going to be a little bit harder for you to lock it up races early. But what are you looking to do in terms of the championship going into Donington and Indy?
Yeah, I'm very confident about where we're at points-wise. And I didn't know that Indy was double points. I thought it was single points. But either way, I think
Yeah, I had a look on the sheet. It said double points on one, but it didn't say on the other sheet. So I'm guessing it's double points.
All right, well, either way, I'm very comfortable where we're at. I think we probably extended that lead upwards closer to 100 points right now, so I'm very confident with that. And just kind of focusing on having a great end to the season, maybe get 2 more race wins. And, hey, we still haven't gotten the 1-2 for Factory Back, so we're going to try to get that at Donington or Indy.
Well, if my calculations are correct, the one track type which you're yet to win at this season is the road course. You got an opportunity to do that next week. Last thing I wanted to ask you about, which one of these wins was harder for you to get? The Monday night racing one that was on Monday night, or the one that you just got now?
Well, obviously, these guys, this is a stacked field, but to be serious, this was a very clean race, and everybody was driving real well in that race. If you want me to compare them, there was so much aero push. If you were out front, it was pretty much your golden ticket. It was so hard to pass the leader. Here, it was much more racing. You saw me and George going back and forth. So, yeah, the name Kyle Busch, it's intimidating to have behind you, but these guys put up much more of a fight because of the cars and the setups we have here. So this was, in a way, the hard race, honestly.
I think you might have just devalued a victory against a 2-time NASCAR Cup Series champion.
Yeah,
so
don't worry. Yeah.
Not sure how you managed to do that, but congratulations. I feel so much worse about myself now. Thank you for joining us, as always, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, guys.
I mean, I'm sure.
All right, we're going to bring up second place.
Second place, we'll bring him up now. If we can find him. And by we, I mean Thomas.
Hey, Eric, it's Thomas up at the championship broadcast booth. You got me?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Oh, fantastic after that run.
Yeah, it's really good. So, started the race, 19th place, finished the race, second. Walk us through it.
Well, I didn't put any practice in, so I didn't put too much effort into qualifying. Ended up bumping a wall and just taking a terrible time in the back, which I was okay with. I know these guys like to run super clean, so I was shooting more for a kind of a long run, just tire wear, that kind of thing. Took some advantages where I could. Saw a couple of people fighting, so I'd sneak through them, just slowly picking up spots here and there. Had some good pit stops and just worked my way up, tried not to overwork the tires and just have an overall good run, good clean run.
Eric, we saw you trying to play the strategy gamble a little bit earlier on in the race. You pitted much earlier than anybody else on track. Was that an attempt to win the race?
Yeah, I figured with those two guys up front, I think I was running third at the time, and I was kind of stuck out of the draft. There was nobody in the draft behind me, so I was kind of in no man's land there, about a second and a half on either side of me, maybe 2 seconds. So I figured, let me go ahead and split the difference since I was in the pit window. If I could split the difference on tires, maybe the tire difference would allow me to catch up to those guys in front. Ended up not working. I think Nick came out in front of me about 3 seconds ahead of me, so he actually gained some time on me on that strategy. Ended up not working out, but with Matt's mistake in the pit lane, I was able to hold on to that second.
Yeah, definitely. And Eric, we saw earlier on in the season at Watkins Glen, you were very, very strong. They're in contention for the win till a little bit of an incident that happened pretty early on in the race. We're going to another road course next week. What do you think your chances are there?
Well, you'll have to remind me which road course it is.
Donington.
And I can let you know. Donington, I have never raced there, so I don't know. Mediocre. I'll put in the effort for sure. I'll put some practice laps in. Hopefully my time will be comparable to the top guys. I'm usually pretty quick on the road courses, even without practice. So hopefully, once I get in there, learn the lines a little bit, I'll be able to compete with those couple guys up front.
Yeah, well done today. Second place, massive achievement, especially from the starting position you had. So unless Jonathan has anything else to ask, Eric, we'll let you get on with your evening.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
I gotta say, we've had two people coming up into the booth. Now, one of them devalued their win against Kyle Busch, and the other one said, yeah, I'm fast at road courses even without practice, so I am a little bit worried that we're going to get Covey Moore in here. He's going to be like, yeah, so I fly spaceships on the weekend. We'll see how this goes. By the way, that's not like ragging on any of them. I just think it's kind of funny because the drivers here are very good. Covey, you join us up in the TMG broadcast booth. You got us?
I absolutely got you guys. How are you tonight?
We're pretty good. We're going to ask you some questions. In the end, you were able to come away with a third-place finish at Motegi. We saw you throughout the race. You were in the fight for the win. Do you think there was something different you could have done maybe earlier on to try and take advantage of the track position?
Yeah, you want to take advantage of, like, just do exactly what you said there, take advantage of that track position. If I had fought a little harder earlier on, I certainly think that I could have been in a bit of a better position. But on those long runs, you're only as good as how deep you are in the field for a lot of it. As soon as them tires start to wear, it just kind of comes to where you are. So if I just fought a little harder earlier in the race, I feel like I could have been in a bit better of a position. But happy to round it out with a third place and get both these factory back cars on the podium.
Yeah, with that double factory back podium, throughout the race, was there any team communications and deciding what you were going to do at certain points of the race, such as, yeah, don't overtake me here, defend me from this, that sort of thing?
Really, there's team communications for sure, but for how much we're actually discussing in the car in the heat of battle is minimal. We're never telling each other which way we or to defend or not defend. We're always going to just kind of drive around each other. The big thing we've learned in the years of racing together where we try to kind of back each other up on track without, A, destroying the integrity of racing itself, or B, just kind of doing it successfully, is that you can't trip over each other. If you're going to trip over each other out there, then it's just, you may as well just be flipping a coin. So if you're just racing with the same spatial awareness as anyone else on track, it can be pretty successful for us.
Yeah, well, did super well tonight. Finished the race in third, exactly the same place you qualified. Do you think that without that caution, with some better luck throughout the race, you might have been able to challenge for the win?
No, that run was pretty decided. I'd like to think that I could have caught up to Schaus. He was just kind of working with a lap car that was pushing him back to me just a little bit. But in the same breath, I had some other guys that were working together really well behind me that were making time. So I think we're third, fourth, fifth best car that was able to get that third place spot as the race ran on and the way she finished up.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
You had a pretty solid run there. Good job on finishing in third place, and yeah, good job.
Thanks very much, guys.
Yeah, one last driver who I'd like to bring up.
I actually have one more as well, so we can do 5 interviews. We got the time.
Exactly. It's Matt Wagner, actually.
Go ahead.
So I'm going to go ahead and bring him up because I got a couple questions. Hey, Matt, it's Thomas up in the TNG broadcast booth. You got me?
Got you loud and clear.
Yeah. So, you had a super good first 105 laps of the race. And the last 15 laps weren't great for you. But just walk us through what was happening, What happened then, especially with that penalty that you got?
My whole objective was to ride behind Nick and save as much fuel as I can to the very end. And he'll have like a few more laps on his tires. And I would be able to get away, hopefully, if I get in front of him, because the draft is so intense. And the newer tires didn't pay off. I think I was like 5 miles per hour over the speed limit. Got busted.
I can tell you were a bit more than 5 miles an hour over the speed limit.
Was I?
Yeah,
So
I clocked you at 76 on pit entry.
Yeah, a little bit too hot.
Yeah, just a
too
bit.
much.
Remember, the pedal's on the left. You press that one down a bit earlier, and then you slow it down nicely.
Oh, I know. I tell you what, this year, I have lost so many races on pit road. It's difficult for me. Very, very difficult to get the timing right, and I practice it a lot. Just didn't pay off today.
Yep. Well, thank you, Matt. Commiserations on your race. It looked like you could be maybe the win if you hadn't have gotten that penalty, but unfortunately, these things happen. Racing is racing, and head up, move on to the next one.
Yeah, sure is. I just remember Texas got taken out on the 3 to go there. And that was very disappointing, but here, I'm really going to bite the bullet.
Yep. Thank you, Matt. Have a good one.
Yep, you too, man. See you guys.
Last driver I do want to bring up is championship contender Craig Forsyth. Thomas, I can do this one because you've been doing all of this the entire race. Hey, Craig, you joined us up in the TMG broadcast booth. You got us?
I do indeed.
Well, just wanted to ask you a couple of questions about that race. It wasn't looking too good early on, but you ended up coming away with a 5th place finish, still losing points to Nick de Groot. However, you're definitely not losing as many as you could have with your starting spot, so very good run in that regard. However, you're going into the final 2 races of the championship. It's definitely not locked up for Nick de Groot. Do you think there's anything you can do in these last 2 races to make a very late charge at that championship?
Well, I've got a full wallet now, so I've got to start shelling out the coin to the other drivers to start wrecking them.
So, for the next 2 weeks, we're going to Donington and Indianapolis, 2 pretty different racetracks. How do you fancy your chances specifically on the road course?
I like Donington. I don't think I'm the fastest there, but it's a nice flowing course, and I'm usually good at the flowing type courses, road courses like that. But I will assume that Nick will be super fast at it, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to Indianapolis. Honestly, that'll just be a nice, relaxing race, I think.
A nice, relaxing race in Indianapolis 500. Now, that's a new one. Anyways, that's basically all I wanted to ask you. Good luck in these final 2 races, and we'll see you later.
Hey, yeah, you guys stay safe.
Thank you.
A nice, relaxing race of...
That I've heard many terms for the Indy 500.
Nice
Some of them
relaxing.
included terms I'm not going to repeat, but a calm, relaxing one, that's a new one to add to the repertoire.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, these drivers are... They must be, like, the best IndyCar drivers available on iRacing because, I mean, we've had, 2-time NASCAR Cup Series champion, not that scary. Road courses, easy. Now we have Indy 500, nice and relaxing. So, clearly these drivers are extremely good at what they're doing.
It's a Sunday drive at this point for these guys. You know, I bet you they probably all drinking a beer halfway through. Well, those of them who are of age.
I wish I could go out to, like, any, big iRacing event and just be like, yeah, I'm here to relax, have fun. That's what I'm going to do next season, Daytona 500. I'm just going to be like, yeah, what's up?
Yeah, well, that does just go to show how talented all of these drivers are. They're incredibly fast,
Absolutely.
Incredibly talented, and most importantly, incredibly nice people when it comes to racing.
They're incredibly nice and incredibly good. So I think that pretty much sums up this league. Definitely one of the more fun ones that I've had the chance of broadcasting. We've seen consistently extremely good racing, and I can't wait to see what we have next weekend at Donington. That's right. We are going outside of the United States again. At least I believe Donington is outside the United States. Like, I had these 2 thoughts. I'm like, wait, it is, right?
It's my home.
It is in England, the homeland of Thomas Fisher. So that's where we are going next Wednesday, same time, same place here on TMG. We'll be going to Donington for the second to last race of the season and the last road course race of the season. But until next time, this has been Jonathan Oates and Thomas Fisher. We are signing out. We will see you all at Donington. Goodbye, everybody.
Have a good one.